All right, David. Can you tell me a little bit about your house? Like the year it was built, about how many square feet, and kind of what part of town you live in?
House was built in 1918. We live in the Fulton neighborhood of southwest Minneapolis, so it's an older house. And we did do, several years ago, we did do a 13-foot addition on the back, but this is a very normal-sized, not McMansion type house in the southwest corner of Minneapolis near Lake Harriet.
Okay. And we installed an air conditioning system for you. And can you tell me a little bit about what your thoughts were, kind of leading up to deciding to get an air conditioning system? What prompted you to kind of do that? Because you probably lived here for a while, but without it.
Almost 25 years. Mm-hmm. And like a lot of folks, we were lugging upstairs and downstairs the individual window air conditioning units for various rooms, and that's very cumbersome. They really don't fit into the windows that well. They're noisy. They really don't do that great a job, and we just decided that it was really time to look into an air conditioning system that would be appropriate for this style of house. And quite honestly, the more we looked into it and did our homework, Uptown has a great reputation. This particular system is very highly rated. Your customers speak very highly of you, as will I. And these systems just work great and they're quiet. Plus, the price was quite reasonable.
Oh, cool. Now, I see you office from the home here. You got a beautiful office, and we put a mini split in up here. A lot of times, a lot of homeowners that office out of the home tell me that they had a window unit in their office, and it was very difficult to have the window unit on when they'd be on conference calls for the noise, and just the amount of time that they spent in their house made it in their office made it very uncomfortable not to have a nice, consistent air conditioning system. Was that an issue at all for you?
Absolutely. I work at home. Mm-hmm. I've worked at home for 13 years, and maintaining a comfortable environment, in my office is obviously as important to me as someone who's in an office building downtown. And the window units, in order to get the amount of cooling to make the room comfortable, I had to put up with noise. That was difficult when I was on calls with clients. These units are very efficient. They're very quiet, and they can be run at very low settings with adjustments to the fan speed to make them super quiet when I'm on the phone. So that, even on a very hot day when I've been, running the fan speed of the unit at a higher rate, when I'm on a call, I can just dial that down a little bit, not have the fan speed as great, and it just is perfect.
Cool. Now, what was the installation process like? From the guys when the guys arrived here, maybe some of the communication before they arrived, and then the process. And what were they like to work with?
Excellent, top notch. We had a particular place outside our house where we wanted to place the outdoor unit. We had some ideas about how we wanted the conduits run up, because we have two units inside the house, one up here and then one downstairs in our dining room, and everything was done exactly the way the plan was laid out. and it was fast, it was efficient, they cleaned up everything inside and out, except for the fact that we had air conditioning when the guys from Uptown were done. You wouldn't have known they were here.
Well, that's great. How comfortable did you feel with the technicians who were in your home? How personable were they or weren't they?
Everybody associated with Uptown is a pro. They're a pleasure to work with. Whether it's the person who answers the phone when you call, to Josh coming and helping you figure out what system's going to be right for your home, to the guys who come to do the installation. They're all very professional. They're all very pleasant. They're exactly the kind of people that you want to work with.
Great. Now, what's it like having air conditioning after not having it for so many years?
Well, especially last summer, in the summer of 2012, it was spectacular to have it. It made it so much easier to keep our home comfortable. Especially with the efficiency of this particular system that we have, just at the lowest settings, just to take the humidity out of the house made such a big difference. And on those very, very hot days that, of course, we do get in Minnesota, to be able to cool down the house made a great deal of difference. And quite honestly, if there was a difference in our what we were paying in the electricity bill with this system versus several window units, I didn't even notice.
Great. How fast was it to respond? Let's say, the air conditioning has been off for a period of time, and you got home and you were kind of surprised, and you kind of turned the AC on. How quick would it respond to your needs?
Well, I should say that during the hottest portions of the summer, when we would leave the house, we would leave the units on, but we would turn them down to their very lowest settings, just basically to try to keep the humidity from building up in the house, so that when we did come back in, if we did want it a little cooler, it's just a matter of a few minutes, and we could turn them up and get more actual air conditioning and get the temperature that we wanted. But if you're asking from the system off and feeling, whoops, we really need to make the house cooler, 10-15 minutes tops, and the rooms in the house are really feel much more comfortable. So I think it's very fast.
Cool. Well, what surprises would you say, if you were thinking back to when you were in the purchasing mode and you were thinking about buying one, what surprises did you have today about maybe how it operated or how things went, in contrast to what your expectations were when you purchased it?
I think the biggest surprise is how effective the system is, even when running at the very lowest, most energy efficient settings. That to me was a surprise. During the planning process, when we were talking about what system would work for our house, and it was explained to us that at the lowest settings, just getting the humidity out of the house would make such a noticeable difference without really running the air conditioning parts of the system per se, if that makes sense. I didn't really realize what a difference that would make. And so that to me is the biggest surprise, that at the lowest, most energy efficient settings of the system, the impact on the quality of the environment in our home was so substantial. That to me was a big surprise, that we didn't really need to crank it up to high levels of air conditioning in order to have a very noticeable improvement in the temperature and in the comfort level of our home.
Great. Well, thanks a lot for your time, David. I really appreciate it.